Good afternoon, everybody. Gonna take a few minutes, give you an update. Again, it's gonna not be probably as inclusive or as comprehensive as you might like, but as I said before, the investigation takes precedent in making sure that we certainly dot our I's, cross our T's, leave no base uncovered, and trying to give you up-to-date information as accurate as possible and as timely as possible. But there's only so much at certain points that we can release. I do want to let the county executive, Mr. Glassman's with us again, say a few words, and then I'll jump back up.
Thank you all. I just wanted to say that, first of all, that to Harford County, all our allied agencies, we send out our prayers and sympathy to the victims in this shooting. We pray for the recovery of the two survivors. All of Harford County's allied agencies are working closely with the Sheriff Department, with our Division of Emergency Services, to provide assistance to the victims' families. And we're working hard to make sure that we bring the suspect to apprehension. I would say that, unfortunately, like most suburban counties in America, we are not immune to workplace violence and violence in general. And as a small suburban community, it certainly sends a ripple across us, but Harford County citizens are reaching out with support. I ask them to call the tip line if they see or hear of anything to help us bring this event to a conclusion. So I just want to thank the Sheriff and all our allied agencies at the Maryland State Police, the federal government, and all the agencies that are helping us today. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. I also want to take a minute and introduce Special Agent in charge Daniel Bordford from ATF. I said earlier DEA, I meant to say ATF, has been on the scene as was the case we saw last February, as is the case today. We don't have to reach out and call for help. Everybody comes, which is wonderful. It happens everywhere across the country. When law enforcement needs help, your partners turn out. So a couple minutes just to, I think the question came up earlier about our federal partners' role in being here today.
Thanks, sir. Good afternoon. My name is Daniel Bord. I'm a Special Agent in charge for ATF for the states of Maryland and Delaware. On behalf of the men and women of ATF, the first thing we want to say is we're so sorry for the loss of life. Our hearts and prayers do go out to the victims and the families involved. The question has come up several times as to why ATF is here, and that answer is very clear. We are here because anytime there is this type of firearm-related violence, ATF is going to respond, and we are going to respond in force. We have deployed multiple groups from throughout the state, and they will be on scene to assist all our state and local partners until this comes to a full resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. In the form of an update, again, there were 5 victims that were shot here at the business behind us this morning, and again 3 are deceased. We hold that number and we pray that number doesn't get any higher. The 2 who were taking the shock trauma remain in critical condition. I understand 1 just came out of surgery, remains in critical condition. We have not identified to 100% satisfaction those who have been shot or those who have been, well, we have identified those who have been lost today. So we are not going to be releasing any names at this point of victims in today's incident. We will confirm that the suspect in this case, he was an employee here. We have confirmed that, worked here for about the last 4 months, and today was a scheduled work day for him. There's a lot of questions about an incident that took place in Wilmington, Delaware, a short time after the incident that occurred here in Harford County. We've been in contact, our investigators have been in contact with the Wilmington Police Department, and they have confirmed that the suspect in their incident, in their shooting event up there, is the suspect from today's shooting here, Mr. Prince. So they have issued a press release from the Wilmington Police Department that Ms. Kaler will be giving out as soon as we wrap up these remarks. Any questions related to their incident beyond that, I don't know the status of their victim, I don't know the relationship, need to be directed to the Wilmington Police Department. Again, we do know from their news release the suspect is still in that vehicle. That same tag number that we gave out earlier, I know there was an issue with the 0 that's not in there, but otherwise the same tag number that's in there, a 2008 black GMC Acadia, Delaware tag P like Paul, C like Charles, 64273. Up to date, we have no information to say he has separated himself from that vehicle. So we are again just calling for the public's help not to try to encounter this suspect, but if you see him, please pick up the phone and call 911 and let your local law enforcement know. He's gone from Harford County up to Delaware. We don't know what his intentions are or what his next stop may be. Again, on behalf of the Sheriff of Harford County and the Sheriff's Office and our county partners, I have to thank our federal partners and our state partners. I received a call from Governor Hogan earlier. The county executive has been with us from the outset. So thank all of our partners for their assistance as we move through this, and our thoughts and prayers go out to the families who are suffering immeasurable loss here today. So with that, I'll take a few questions, and again, I'm going to qualify it with, if it's investigative, I'm probably not going to go into it.
Sheriff,
We're going to give a few questions, sir.
Any indication of a motive?
None, other than we know he worked here. We think it ties into the relationship here at work, but it was not. He was scheduled to work today. He was not separated.
Have there been any other police calls to this business? Anything else like that that might have been included?
None that I'm familiar with, but the investigators are digging.
Sheriff, have they determined the relationship between the suspect and the victims? Like, was one of the victims his boss? Anything like that?
I have not heard, and as far as I know, we haven't 100% identified all three of the deceased victims at this point.
Can you tell us about like, the birthday situation? What did you say it was his anniversary at work or something?
It was a regular work day. He was scheduled to be at work today. He works here. He has worked here for 4 months, and it was scheduled to be a regular work day.
Can you confirm that he gathered those coworkers together for a meeting and then opened fire?
I'm not going to go. Some of the investigative part, I'm not going to go into that. Yes.
That's my question. Have police communicated with the suspect's family?
We have been reaching out to, of course, the victims' families, those that we have identified, and we've opened the center up here at the Richland Ballroom, which we are going to be moving to our southern precinct here in the hours to come. We are reaching out to any acquaintances or family members of the suspect in an attempt to identify where he is
Sheriff
and
Gaylor,
locate him.
was this suspect known to your department beforehand?
I don't know what involvement, if any, we've had with him before. I do know that he has a criminal record. I still, up to this time, have not seen his complete criminal record.
So clearly you don't know.
Do you know his relationship to the second location, to this auto?
No idea. The one up in Delaware?
Yeah.
No idea.
Do you think perhaps he was trying to get another vehicle, or do you have any indication?
As far as that would have to go to the Wilmington Police Department. I truly have no idea, but even if I did, I would still defer the answer to Wilmington.
So clearly you don't know where he is because you don't be in custody if you did.
Absolutely.
But he went from here to Delaware.
Right.
Should people here, should the guard be down? Do you think
Oh, absolutely
he's still
not.
in Wilmington? I mean,
no.
what are you telling people about it? Is
Well,
he able to go up and down the highway?
Same thing. It only takes 20 minutes to get to Wilmington from here. Certainly, I wouldn't say be aware. He seems in this incident to have targeted his workplace. I don't know what the relationship is up there, but I still believe he's probably targeting for a specific reason and not general. That doesn't mean he's an armed killer out there. So certainly, he is a danger to anyone he encounters. So we should be aware, and he's mobile. He could be back here in Harford County in 10 minutes.
Did he try to shoot everybody in this place right here, or just a select few?
Again, the investigation will have to pan out, but my suspicion is that if he could have shot more individuals, this incident would have resulted in a greater loss of life.
Sheriff, can you walk us through, to the extent you can you walk us through the timeline? What happened to this? Did he come into work and this happened moments after he got there? Can you just walk us through?
Really, other than us receiving the call, for those who weren't here earlier, we received the first call. I actually don't have it on this sheet. Christy, do you have those? 8:58. The first call came into the dispatch center, or at least our cars were dispatched at 8:58, and we were on scene 4 minutes later. So does that start the workday? I don't know what day the workday starts.
Sheriff Gaylor, do you believe he went from here directly to Wilmington, or do you believe he stopped in Elkton on the way? Or is that just a location you searched?
That's a location that is associated with the suspect. So I don't personally think he stopped there. I think we were at that house too quickly. So I don't think he went there.
So you believe he went from here straight to the Wilmington
Right.
area?
Timeline's pretty quick. I think he went.
Caught on surveillance cameras?
We're part of the investigation will be to recover any video related to today's events.
Is that how you identify him so quick?
No, I believe we were provided a name to start off the entire.
That's correct. The witness
we were
provided a name?
Correct, just to even start our investigation.
Can you give us a sense gender on the folks that have been?
We're not going to release. We believe everybody's an adult. Beyond that, we're not going to release any information until we fully identify after they've been identified and the families have been notified.
Can you give us a sense of what's happening up and down the I-95 corridor?
I'm sorry?
You guys have an idea of how many people were there at the business at the time of the shooting?
There were more than 5. I don't know what the total count was. We've taken everybody to the Southern Precinct in order to interview, but there were quite a few more than the 5.
Can you give us a sense of what's happening right now up and down the I-95 corridor? How far north, how far south? What are you doing at various exits?
There is a in the northeast corridor. There is a search for this vehicle and this suspect. Every police department, every police officer is aware of who is being looked for these crimes here and for the crime up in Delaware. So beyond that and the investigative tactics that are used, I just say that no stone will be left unturned until he's brought to custody. Right. And I'm just reminded, we have set up, working with the FBI, who's also on the scene with us, a tip line. So if anybody, again, you should not take it upon yourself to encounter this subject to confront him, but call 1-800-CALL-FBI, 1-800-CALL-FBI, and that tip line transfers into our investigators.
Sheriff, is there any more you can say about allegations that this isn't his first incident of workplace violence?
No, there's nothing else I can say. I'm not familiar with his entire past at this point.
How confident are you that you're zeroing in on him?
Obviously, I would feel a lot better if we had taken him into custody at this point. But I'm confident. It's reassuring that we know, as much as you can be reassured in an incident like this, we know who we are looking for. But a suspect on the run can be quite elusive, and he's so far proving to be just that.
Still just a handgun, you believe it? That use?
We still believe it to be just one handgun in this incident. I don't know what, again, for the Wilmington, I don't know any of the investigative information.
Sheriff, what would be your message to him?
What police officers found when they got here on the scene, what they saw exactly?
Unfortunately, as you see in any active shooter scene, you see people in need of medical assistance, and you have to approach that scene with a great deal of caution because we didn't know at the initial units responding whether the shooter was still on scene. So our deputies have dealt with this in the past with losing 2 of our own last year, and we dealt with it again today, and I'd like to say we'll never deal with it again, but in the real world that we all live with, unfortunately these types of events are all too frequent.
Saying if your suspect is out there listening to this, what would you say to him right now?
I would ask him, obviously, to stop what he has started here today. Enough loss of life, and to stop and just turn himself in to the authorities. We can end this peacefully and preserve his life and any more lives that might be in jeopardy. So I would ask him to consider what he's already done and put an end to it and turn himself in.
Sheriff, I know this was asked earlier, but I just want to make sure that we have it. Did the suspect gather our co-workers for some sort of meeting before he fired?
Yeah, again, I think that's part left to the investigators, something I'm not comfortable talking about how the whole event unfolded inside at this point of the investigation. Okay, couple more and then...
Have you been able to observe this vehicle, like Easy Pass, toll booths, Jersey Turnpike, any of those tools in the last couple of hours?
Those things are obviously tools that are being looked at, but not to my knowledge. And one more, I heard.
Where in the building did the shooting all happen? Was this all in one room, contained in one spot, where did he go room by room?
Again, I'm going to leave that open. Let the investigation pan out some more before I answer. I think it took place throughout the business, but it's not a 100% concrete answer. Do not. No idea. We do not believe in this incident here that he had any assistance whatsoever. We believe at this point in the investigation that what happened here today, he acted alone. So I'm gonna wrap it up there. And Christy, we have any idea? As soon as we have some names, we'll get them out to you as soon as we possibly can. But family notifications have to come first.
Just one more question.
Yes.
Speaking with the witnesses, have any of them said that the suspect would be angry? Did they kind of do they know that the situation was intensifying enough that they needed to run another direction, or was it?
I don't think anybody anticipated an issue here today when he came to work, if that answers the question. From what I've heard so far, I don't think anybody thought something like this could unfold here today.
There wasn't any type of argument leading up to
Not that I'm familiar with. The investigation has a long way to go.
Do you know what his position was at this business?
I do
when he
not.
did here?
I do not.
Thank you very
All right,
much.
thank you.
Thank you.